What's up, guys? Shitface Sober, Jeff N.
And I'm Kyle.
And we got a special guest over here. What's your name?
My name is Ty Levine.
Tyrone.
That's right. Call him
Levine.
Tyrone.
Tyrone's awesome. Tyrone, how much sober time do you have?
It'll be 11 years in September, so 10 years of continuous sobriety. But I've been long-term recovery since 2008.
So, but you have 10 years straight sober right now. You know, because it's kind of like when you go to a meeting and you hear some guy saying, like, it's been 23 years since I drank booze, but I got a week sober off of rock. You know, like a lot of times you're just like, okay.
Or smoking weed.
You got a week, dude.
Yeah.
Just fucking send it home the week, you know?
Yeah, no,
but you
I
got
get
10
that.
full years.
That's right.
That's a number, bro. I'm
It's
proud
a
of
big
you.
number. Yeah.
But then when you break it down, it's like 3,650 days, which is, when you think about it, that's not a lot of fucking
You are
days.
autistic.
Yeah, he is.
You
What does
know?
it? What does it feel like to be you?
Yeah,
Ty?
what's it feel like?
What's it feel like to be me?
Yeah.
That's like a question about consciousness, kind of. It's like, what is it like to be a bat? What is it like to be a zombie? What is it like to be Ty? So it's my own personal experience of the world. It's an interesting up and down, peaks and valleys, you know, that kind of thing. Just normal, I think.
Do you think you're psychotic?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
you can't be on the show without being psychotic.
Yeah, I've had some issues. You know?
Has anyone ever called you a sociopath?
No, not that one, because actually, and I actually probably could be, just based on my, inability to access my emotions.
Have you ever cried
Yeah.
in sobriety?
Yeah, I've cried in sobriety, but it's like, I wish I could cry more. Like, I honestly wish that I could cry more, because I know I have a bunch of like sadness and grief in there that I have not let out.
Yeah.
Just from working in the field of recovery, seeing people pass, just different people in my life that have passed, relationships, things like that I really would like to be able to just sob like crazy. And
That's a good question, because I've noticed that whenever I first got sober for it's almost a year and a half now, I can't. I
Yeah,
used to be
don't
able to cry on demand, and I just I don't know if it's just something in my brain's just not healed yet. But after 10 years, I guess it doesn't get any easier.
Well, I've had some moments, and when it happens, I run with it. I'm like, yes, let's go. I'm trying to produce more and let more out. But and my wife's the exact opposite. She's very emotional. We're fire and water in the signs, so
Right.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've cried only one time in sobriety. 2 times, actually, when my grandma died. We just touched fingers. But my Mima died. I was in Ecuador. I was doing some charity work in Ecuador. My mom calls me and says, your grandma's in the hospital. Can you say goodbye to her? And literally, in a whole day, I was in the Amazon jungle. Maybe a 5-minute stretch, I had service, and I was able to say goodbye to my grandma. I couldn't cry because I was in the truck full of 6 Ecuadorian dudes, and I just couldn't. I was just like, I can't cry in front of these dudes because I can barely speak to these fools. But I got back to my hut and I cried like a little bitch. And then when I flew back home, my mom was telling me about my grandma's reaction, when I was saying goodbye to her, and she could see it on her face. And then I was like, Mom, I got to go. And I got in the car and I started fucking sobbing like a little bitch, ugly cry, wailing. And then I was crying for 30 minutes. It felt good. And then I was driving down the road and I saw this guy holding a sign saying sale Rolexes. And I was like, I'm going to go buy a watch and feel better.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I did. I bought a watch. I bought this watch. And this is my Mimo watch.
That's cool.
So anytime I'm I just think about Mimo. There she is right there.
I like that.
Okay, but question. So 10 years ago, you had relapsed. So the first time you got sober, how old were you? First time.
27.
Tight. And what were you taking? Crack?
Oh yeah, heroin, crack, alcohol, pills. I was really polysubstance user. Really anything, but at the end it was I almost even stopped drinking because it was all my money was going to drugs.
What was your favorite drug?
Oh man, probably heroin.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's like the warm
It's a good one.
friend. It's like a blanket
Yeah.
of love.
It's a good one, but really, crack was my red carpet unto sobriety.
Because that dropped you to your knees.
No,
Crack is like karate.
I never actually was on my knees for crack, but I did sell a lot of things. I sold, musical instruments, my TV. I told my roommate that the TV was in repair, but then it just never came back.
It's like that movie Requiem for a Dream.
Kind of, except my mom wasn't running down to the corner and buying it back every day.
Would you have sold your tooth if someone offered you enough money for it?
Yeah, dude.
Your front tooth?
No, fuck no.
Oh,
No,
the
no,
back
no,
one.
no. I got a good grill. You
Yeah.
know, you know, my orthodontist days, things were a little bit more archaic. So I had like all kinds of these crazy like
Headgear?
I had this. Well, I didn't have headgear, but I love like pictures of people in headgear. That shit is so dorky. It's so funny. But no, I had this thing up in my roof of my mouth, and you had to turn it. It was like a little key you
Ugh.
stuck in. You had to put this necklace around your neck so you didn't swallow the key, and you stick it in there and you turn it, and it was essentially just like pushing my teeth out, like the whole thing, like my so.
And you
Anyway,
were
so they would line up correctly whenever I bit down.
With this
so.
when you were in high school or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you like when you were a kid?
And it made me talk funny. When I was a kid, very adventurous. You know, I was like the ninja dude. I'd be like playing games. You know, I'm the ninja in the tree, like jumping out, you know, fucking around. You know, it was a different time back then. You know, I was on my bike. It was in the neighborhood, and I would just go, you know, come home when the street lights
Same.
come on. And it was great. You
Did
know,
you
got
ever-
into so much shit, you know.
Did you ever think you were retarded?
I really didn't know. I didn't. I know you have a similar experience where you did though.
I did. I thought I was retarded when I was younger.
What happened?
My first grade teacher told my mom, "Your son is slow and needs special schooling."
Yeah, I agree with that, Kyle.
And yeah, and so
That hurt
I
your
literally
feelings.
for like a full year I thought I was retarded. I also thought I had HIV because I saw an HIV
Mm-hmm.
commercial and from people in Africa having HIV, and I was like, I for sure have HIV. So secretly, I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't want to scare my family.
You don't want anyone to know.
I didn't want anyone to
It's
know.
not something you just tell somebody, you know.
I have
And
AIDS.
you knew that when you were a kid.
I was 5
So for a full year, you thought you were retarded?
and thought I had HIV.
So both.
Overlapped.
Wow, dude. That's a rough year.
That's fucked up for a 5-year-old to be holding that. What the fuck, man? We
It's
need to
not
like
cool.
bring that up. Talk about that with your
Yeah.
kids. Be like, you're not retarded. You don't have AIDS. You know, there it is. You know.
That's funny.
But yeah. So back to it. So your family. You have good parents, bad parents, medium.
My parents are great. You know, they were. They were overcritical. I don't know if I want to get into all that with them. Screw it. They were very critical of me. Like everything, almost said everything that I did was like not the right way or not
okay.
the way that they wanted me to do it. And I think that did play a role. You know, they were just trying to make me a better person, like you know, and teach me, you know, the way like a good way to live. But I ended up for whatever reason internalizing it like, well, I just can't do shit right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just I'm going to give up before I even try because I'm already going to let you down.
Oh, no, I'm gonna show you that I can't do shit right.
Yeah.
Oh,
How old were
rebelled.
you when you did drugs for the first time?
I was 11 or 12.
What'd you do? Weed?
Yeah,
Oh, to Gateway.
yeah. So
Do you think-
actually, no. The first thing I took was a Soma. This guy I was in
wow.
high school with was like, "Here, I take these pills at night. They're my grandma's or whatever." I'm like, "Dude, bring me some." So, let's back up even further before that. Ritalin. You know, Ritalin was probably the first thing. I was on that for a while, and then I was sniffing that pretty early on. You know,
Nice.
Wow.
You were sniffing
Who
it.
Yeah.
taught you how to sniff that? You just figure it out?
Yeah, I went to a big high school. It's probably 2,500 kids, and you know, there's a lot of shit to get into. You know, and I did not like the way I felt. Super insecure. Essentially, like when I would go out, I would feel like I was walking on eggshells in any situation, especially social situations, because I would be feeling like I'm like not doing something the right way. Like, so I don't even like think about what I was going to say before I said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a good way to live. You know, it's like
Anxiety.
a constant hamster wheel going on up here, and just not comfortable with who I was. I wasn't given an opportunity to find Ty, you know, to find myself, like to be an individual because of just the way I was raised and the different. So as far as like running around and playing, that's fine. You know, like I had all the time in the world to do that. My parents were really cool with that. But like in terms of just like little things, say yes, ma'am, so no, ma'am. You know, don't do this, don't do that. You know, when you mow the yard, you mow it in squares. You don't mow it back and forth, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, man, I'm an alcoholic, and I'm rebelling against all of that. So it's a constant, you know, arguments and fights and things like that. And then when I started getting into drugs, like, and they found out, it was like chaos.
How early did they find out? Like
They started catching on. I wasn't very sneaky.
Yeah, I didn't. That's what my next question was. Were you just like blatantly doing it? And like
I wasn't I wasn't that guy, but I did have friends. You go over their house and just like smoke weed,
Right.
and they're, they don't care. But I had more respect, in terms of my family didn't want me to do that, so I didn't. But they caught on to it with mushrooms and acid. I think that when because I'm from Louisiana, and we would just wake up. I'd take the pillowcase off my pillow, and we would go pick mushrooms, at 10 o'clock in the morning in the summertime,
Nice.
and just have a whole freaking pillowcase full, and then we would freeze them. We didn't know how to dehydrate them or any of that kind of stuff. But my parents caught on that I was messing around with that,
It's hard to like miss that, like as a parent, to like see your child just tripping balls and be like, "This
Yeah.
kid is fucked up."
One time I was tripping balls, and I told my friend to stop by my house real quick because we're gonna go in and grab my weed. I left it in my jacket pocket. That's where I always hid my stuff, like in my jackets, like in the pocket, the pocket. And I go in, and my mom's like, "Ty, I'm so glad you're here. I have all these jackets. They were on sale at Dillard's, and I want you to try them on. And you have to try them on now because I need to take them back tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Her friend's sitting there, and so I'm like, and she, trying these jackets on and looking at myself in the mirror, and they're like, "Yeah, that looks good, Ty." It was so awkward, but mission accomplished. Grab the weed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you learn to sniff Ritalin when you were like 9?
I just from talking to other people at school.
You were 9? How old were
like,
you?
I wasn't 9 when I was doing that. I was still
Okay.
on Ritalin like in high school.
So 14.
11, 12. And they switched to Adderall at some point. Yeah. But the guy gave me the Somas, and he's like, "You might get sick." And I'm like, whatever. So I threw 2 back, and I was in class at school.
at school you took 2 summers.
Yeah, I threw them back, dude. And I got sick. I was
Of
like,
course.
because I was like the first, got dizzy as hell, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Yeah.
I love the way I feel right now. Yeah.
Out of control.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
then
not
the
my-
same guy got me some weed eventually.
I remember
Nice.
those things. Those things are like horse pills, dude.
Yeah.
They are the big circular fellas.
Yeah,
they look like
they
UFOs.
fuck you up, dude. But
Yeah.
we got the weed, man. The weed was, I didn't know how to roll a joint, so the guy like taught me how to do the coke can.
Did you ever smoke a Cocoa Puff?
I don't know what that is, dude.
It's when you put Coke on weed.
Oh yeah, I did
Yeah.
that. I thought it was a waste. Eventually I realized
Crack is better.
This is stupid. Like you need to you can't really smoke powder cocaine. You need to
Crack.
turn it
Freebase.
into oil and
Freebase
then burn
it.
it like that. Yeah.
Freebase.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Well, like you're one of the most interesting dudes I know. You know
Really?
what I mean that.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean
okay.
that.
I don't know
Like,
if
he
that's
is.
good or bad. That is good because I would rather be interesting than not interesting.
Well, when I first met you, I thought you were super serious. I thought like this guy's like, doesn't have a lot of flavor to his dish. And then we started meeting each other, and then I was like, holy fuck, like this one's got a gang of flavor. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So like hang out with people that have flavor,
Yeah,
Sometimes
Flavor
the
Flav,
dish
baby.
will surprise you.
yeah.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
absolutely.
you're super interesting.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so you got a family that's just been harsh on you. I relate. You
Yeah.
know, probably a lot of people out there watching relate. Had a family that
Sure.
you couldn't do anything fucking right, or you felt that way, constantly in anxiety, wondering what people think about you. Am I going to fuck up? Am I going to be the laughing stock of the school, or maybe I'm going to be the hero, or all that shit? Did you have a girlfriend in high school?
Yeah, I had a few girlfriends. My first serious girlfriend, that's kind of serious. She went to a different high school, so but I met her through. Actually, her brother was my friend.
Oh,
And
wow.
I started dating my friend's sister. But
Nice.
My brother's
yeah,
sister.
I don't
You're
know.
from
man.
Louisiana.
It just
My
happened,
brother's
dude.
sister.
My brother's sister, my uncle, daddy. It's all the same.
My uncle's sister. Hope I dated her.
But yeah, I mean the and relationships play a big part in my disease, in my alcoholism. I was in 2 serious relationships that they left me because I couldn't get my shit together.
Nice.
And that hurt. That hurt pretty bad, dude.
Really?
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you like? I mean, okay. I like back when I was using. If like somebody left me because of my using, like I remember like my first time, like I when I first smoked weed. I've told you this story. I was smoking weed, and then I went to like out with some of my friends, and like it was like my girlfriend at the time, and then 2 of our friends, and like they were like, oh, I was like, hey, you guys want to smoke weed with me? And this was like the second time I'd ever smoked weed, and they're like, no, we don't want to smoke weed. So I'm like, okay, you guys get out of the car, go wait over here, and I'm gonna smoke this weed,
Yeah.
and then I'll come out and join you.
Oh, yeah.
And then she starts crying, and I'm like, that's kind of excessive. Like, I just want to smoke this weed
Yeah.
and change how
She's
I feel.
scared, man.
I just want to hype the day up a little bit, get hungry, and like be happy. you know? And then so anytime
Yeah.
somebody tried to dip on me
Yeah.
because I was trying to have a good time and turn up, I'd be like, get out. You know?
Dude, I mean, I remember the first time that I did smoke weed. It was like, I remember like it was yesterday. I was in the woods. I did spend a lot of time in the woods. My neighborhood had a bunch of woods. Thank God, because that was like, you know, I think
Sanctuary.
it fueled my mind for like connection to nature and also adventure, you know, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're sitting there. I remember the sun was shining through the trees, man. We lit that thing up and we smoked it. And as we were walking out, I just remember everything feeling like slow motion, and we just could not stop laughing, dude. Because you mix like immaturity with like, you know, drugs that make you laugh, and it's just
And
it's
you
out
know
of
that you're
control.
doing something.
A little bit wrong.
Yeah, a little
I mean,
bit
it gets
wrong.
out of control
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, I
so.
want to hear your guys' favorite stories, like your first time smoking weed stories. Like, share it with us. Like, comment that shit. Like, I want to know some really good, because I think everyone remembers the first time they blazed one up,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, like, share it. Be like, I mean, it's not something to be ashamed of. Like, we all did it. I mean, fuck, everybody. I didn't inhale. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
But whatever. Okay. Did you ever like get your nipple pierced, your belly button pierced? or
No, I
anything
didn't.
weird?
I had a friend of mine that got both his nipples pierced and all that kind of stuff. I didn't do any of that. Like I was pretty like, I'm
Tattoos?
not going to do anything to draw attention to me.
Tattoos? Never got any tattoos? Loaded?
Now I have them, but
But
yeah,
it's loaded. You had no tattoos.
no.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I did get one.
What'd you
I got
get?
one of my. So I lost a bet. And so I had to go. It was like 6 a.m. We went to the Hood. I think it was called like Sacred Temple Tattoo in Shreveport. Shout out.
Do you know where? Do you know where
And-
Holly Grove is?
Who?
Holly Grove.
No, where's that?
Oh, it's in Louisiana.
Holly Grove? Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about that? Oh, yeah, dude. I know where Holly. That's Lil Wayne's.
Yeah, Little
spot.
Wayne's hub spot.
So, anyways, I got a tattoo on my back that says, "This was a great idea."
Nice.
Yeah. I
What was
did.
the bet that you lost?
Well, it's, back. Okay, so I bet my friend that like there's this girl I liked, and I was like, man, I'm gonna hook up with her tonight. I promise. We were at my friend's lake house, and I didn't.
you didn't.
I didn't. Yeah. And so I had to get the tattoo, and I was just drunk enough to just say, you know, fuck it, let's go.
Was
Yeah.
it in cursive?
Yep.
Are you friends?
Yep.
Are you friends with any of your friends that you used and got high with today?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Any
no,
of them
I am.
sober?
So none of them are sober. So I talk to them, but we're not really like we're on different frequencies now. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
right.
they're doing their thing, and I'm doing my thing, and it's all good. We respect it. You know, whatever. So
Tight.
yeah, man.
Do you guys like send each other like selfies and shit?
Rarely. I'm terrible about keeping up with people in my past. I can just tell you that right now.
Same.
I'm not good with that. Man.
It's a good protection mechanism.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
if
I
you're-
want to be better. Like it's something that like every time I like sit down and think about my life, I want to do, but I just like there's a fear around it.
Well, I mean, I can just say from experience that, like, when I first got sober, I was told to change everything. So I cut everybody out of my life, even the people that weren't bad influences. I
Yeah.
just stopped talking to them because I was so afraid of going back to that life that I had to start completely over new. And then after 6 months, I started reaching out to the people that were good influences that were from my past. And I started including them in my life and how I'm doing. And then we started spending time together. But the people that I like to be around today are sober, spiritual, self-growth, initiated or propelled people. I like people that really are working on themselves and that are, you know, don't call me out. Like, I like people that call me out on my bullshit. That are like, Jeff, this is what you need to do to get better. Or like, Jeff, hey, you're struggling with this. Like, this is what we can do. Like, here's an answer. Right? I don't like people that are like, oh, don't talk about the problem. Right?
Yeah.
Or like the surface level bullshit.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's
it
why-
gets old. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like talking to you because like we're completely honest with each other.
Yeah.
Kyle, we're
Right.
completely honest with each other.
Yeah.
That's what it takes for sure.
I feel it.
Yeah, if you're not hanging out with people that you can be honest with and tell them your problems and they're going to give you answers, fuck those people. You need to get new people in your life.
I mean, essentially just wasting your time, you know. So if I was just going around and talking to people about the weather and about, hey, what'd you do today? You know, just like all this kind of stuff is sort of, it's not real connection.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just, it's you know,
Caca.
it's cockamamie.
Cockamamie. Yeah, exactly. I agree. It's like once you get rid of drugs and booze, okay, this is a great topic, okay? This is something that a lot of people bring up. So, like, you know, when you're out there, like, smoking rock and getting in trouble and doing a bunch of bad shit, right? Like, your life is super exciting and chaotic, right? Exciting is not the word for it, but, like, it's
Sure.
super, like, it's like, whoa. Like, you never know what could happen tomorrow.
It's unmanageable.
Overload
Yeah.
of cortisol all the time.
You could say excitement, unmanageable, stress, happiness, elation, depression, right? But once you get sober, it kind of stops and you get peace. And a lot of people think that peace is boring. Like my life is boring.
sure. I get
And they
that.
can't stay in the game. Like they get out of focus because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I miss the excitement. I miss the immediate adrenaline rush. And so do you relate with that when you got sober?
100%. You know, I think that, not knowing who I was as an individual and exploring all of that, that kind of made it exciting for me in a way. But the chaos and all the cortisol that gets, released is that, I mean, people can get addicted to that. You hear people say, I'm addicted to chaos. And that's actually what's happening.
I
It's
hear
like,
that a lot.
yeah, they get that. They like that feeling of like that energy, that adrenaline, And but that happened to me, yeah, of course. The answer, the solution is to you have to find shit to do, man. I've got to replace like all that time I spent talking about drugs, looking for drugs. Hey, do you got the line on it? Asking my friends if they have money, going to get money, hustle, all that. It's a whole job. What's going to replace that? I can't just sit around and watch TV. I need to get out and do something and find out what I like to do.
What did you find that helped you? Like, what was some things that you used?
Porn.
Like prayer, meditation. I was gonna go a whole different route.
Yeah. Are you
we know where
talking
you're
about
at.
whack-a-mole? Like I get rid of the substance abuse
Right,
and then
right.
these other things pop? Or what did I do that was healthy?
Well, what did you do that was healthy?
Okay,
Yeah, when you were
so
new
I
in
bought a
sobriety.
kayak. I started kayak fishing. I was in Lafayette, Louisiana, so I had like a little. You could get into the intercoastal pretty quickly, and I got into that. I got into music, so I play a couple of instruments, and I was really got into like my guitar and on scales and just like learning shit about that. I got real interested. I started taking fiddle lessons.
I heard you were a crack smoking fiddler.
So did you didn't play any instruments before while you were using?
I did, but I had never really sat down and like took the time to like learn
right.
it. Yeah, and so like it caught on pretty quickly, and I'm not like an amazing guitar player or anything, but like I was like, I was getting good enough to where it was like kept me coming back. I was like, man, I want to learn more. So and then relationships, I like to be in relationships and with women, and that was something that took up some of my time.
With women.
Yeah, man, with women.
Women, like plural?
With
Or
woman.
Woman. I
One
like to be in
man.
a relation with one man. One man. Yeah, okay, cool. I could see that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, what about friends today? Like, are your friends sober? You got normal friends, both? Mostly sober, mostly normal?
Well, I got normal friends. I got sober friends. I've got, the whole thing. It honestly, like, it doesn't matter. I'm actually looking for more people that aren't sober for friends at times, just because that I have way more sober friends than not, and I do enjoy hanging out with people that aren't necessarily in recovery. you
like
know?
when they're blacked out, doing lines in the bathroom?
No, just normal people, not like
Drug addicts?
yeah. Yeah. But when I first got sober, I was still, seeking relationships with women that were not healthy.
Of course.
Yeah,
Because like you substitute that like elation or that you have a hole when you first got sober.
You're
You
like
got a hole.
God-shaped hole. You got to fill it with
You got to
that
fill it with
God-shaped,
God-shaped
you know what?
spirit. You know what I mean? But yeah, you start taking, like me, got sober, wanted, pink or green. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Right? So it's either pink or green
Yeah.
when you first get
Finances
sober.
and romances.
I want money. I want women. I want friends. I heard a really cool piece of advice today. It's the best from an entrepreneur. It was, it's better to get 100 people to love you than 1,000 people to like you. I was like, wow,
Okay.
I understand that. Do you understand that?
Kind of.
Well, when I heard that, I started thinking about the people around me that like actually like who I am, and you were on that fucking list.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
And you were on that list too. And I mean
Up
that.
top.
That was this morning in the bathroom.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're
That's
thinking
cool.
of me there.
That's cool.
I just mean it because it's like it's true. I have really deep quality relationships with a handful of people today, whereas I don't have very many surface level bullshit.
Well, that's like
relationships.
keeping your circle small, kind of thing.
Yeah, the trust tree, baby.
Well, I'd rather
Getting that trust
have
tree.
a really good 2-hour talk with you than a 10-minute talk with 12 people.
Right.
And I know people out there that like having 10-minute talks with 12 people.
Right.
And I don't know how they fucking do it. It blows me out, There it is. Okay, so once you got sober the first time, you had 6 years sober. How much sober time
No,
did you get?
so I ended up getting sober and going back to school, and I had 4 years. Yeah, I got
Okay.
a
What brought
degree
you?
in biology.
What brought you to that point of getting sober at 27? Was it like somebody push you into that direction, or did you
Crack
just
cocaine, Kyle.
did you get arrested, or did something happen, or
Yeah, so I've
Family
I've
push
had,
you there?
Yeah, 2-3 DUIs, and I started. What ended up happening is I got on Adderall for school. You know, school was competitive. I was in my senior year. Everyone around me was using it, and I was like, you know what, I could probably do that.
Yeah,
Never
'cause
had a
everybody
problem.
else is doing it.
Yeah, I never really had a problem with that. You know, and then like
Yeah.
cut to me in the bathroom,
Right,
you know,
right.
sniffing my everything I have. So.
Calling the doctor to see if they can give you another prescription because you already ran out.
Yeah, I had a party, and you know, so I stole it. Is there any way you can write me
Yeah,
another
right.
one? Yeah. And eventually they caught on to that,
Right.
you know, and I was screwed. And so I was crashing. And so this is how I started smoking crack. Then I went across the tracks and I had, you know, crack in a pipe within like 30 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And did you ever go to jail?
Yeah, I've been to jail. I need to go back and count it. I think it's 10 times.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
maybe 12.
What's the longest
Double
for?
digits.
Yeah.
What's the longest for?
Yeah, I'm
Like days?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
2 days.
Okay.
But that was an OPP, Orleans Parish Prison. You don't
Which-
want to be in there more than 2 days. Trust me, dude.
It's bad. Were
Oh,
you
yeah.
sober during Hurricane Katrina?
I was in treatment
Oh,
during
wow.
Hurricane Katrina.
Where
Yeah,
at?
I was at a place in Minnesota during that time.
Oh, no way.
So I was like watching on TV, like, what in the fuck?
So you're like, God's got me, dude.
You were
Yeah.
thinking about all the places that you could have went and robbed at that point,
Oh,
like
I know.
you know, like
Oh
looted.
yeah. Oh, you mean like all the pharmacies?
Yeah, right. You're like,
Yeah.
damn, there's a storm going down. This is the best time to go and get free drugs.
And you know that happened too.
Do you think like in a storm like that, like, okay, so we're talking about Hurricane Katrina, like, do you think a lot of people got sober from that because they didn't have access to drugs, or do you think a lot of people just still found their shit? Like,
Dude, yeah. When things are flooded, the things that aren't going to get wet are your drugs.
Right.
know
And
what
I
I
think
mean?
more people are going out and using, even people that are in
Yeah.
like in sobriety. When a crisis happens, there's a greater number of people more
Sure.
likely to go back out, like COVID. Like
so
a
like,
lot
yeah,
of
I
people
think
went back
drug
out.
sales
you know?
went up in COVID. Like,
Yeah.
like
Right.
cartel made more money in COVID because people could smoke more drugs at home, right? Like you weren't working at work, so you're sitting home smoking more drugs.
Yeah.
So I think like COVID and like natural disasters increased drug consumption.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think drug dealers mark their price up during a hurricane because it's harder to get to you and
Probably,
stuff?
yeah. You should.
Like they were probably boating to each other, like, "Hey, you got that rock," and then
Yeah.
they came over
They're
with their
like-
little boat.
They're like,
in the
oh, shit,
canoe.
I got to get there quicker, man. Hurry up, man.
Yeah.
You ain't paddling fast enough.
roof you on?
Yeah, I know. What roof-
But yeah, I mean, I just think that the whole reason for me using the drugs and why it connect. I had this good this like love affair relationship with them was because of the insecurities that I had. Like, what is this guy thinking about me? What do people think about me? Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of acceptance from others. Fear of not being good enough, and what the drugs is just took those away, and it took me a while to identify what those fears actually are, because it's different for everyone, But I've done a lot of work on myself in different ways, and these are the things that have been driving me, and that's the power and the freedom and the beauty of recovery is the fact that I have those fears, but I can walk through them today.
And you can acknowledge it. Yeah.
Yes.
Like another thing I've noticed, well, I mean, probably 100% of people that are alcoholics or addicts have a selfish, self-seeking, self-centered kind of lifestyle where they, that's the main issue.
Yeah.
And once they kind of acknowledge that, then you can start working through that problem.
That's right.
But
Yeah,
that's what drives us.
Yeah, absolutely. Without any awareness, you can't change. So if I don't have awareness around my behaviors, then how am I ever going to change the behaviors? That's why it's good to have like good men in your life that will just tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, dude, you're fucking up. Like, what are you doing? Like, care more about my life than my feelings. And that's kind of the old school AA place that I come from.
Yeah, like if I say something to you, it's going to hurt your feelings today, maybe for like 2 or 3 days, but it might improve the next 30 years of your life.
100%.
So like, fuck the 3
Yeah.
days. Let's go for the 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're sitting there and we're going to say something that offends you, your friends are going to tell you like you're a fuck up drug addict junkie and like you need to turn your life around and get sober, you're going to be a little bitch just sitting there all sad. But like if you did get sober, the next 30, 40, 50 years of your life might be dope. So stop being a little bitch.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. And
Have you ever-
shoes
I didn't play footsies.
Hey, Manny.
Okay, so what's like, you go to meetings?
Yeah, I go to meetings.
Well, I know you go to meetings.
Yeah,
I see
I've
you
got a
at
few
'em.
meetings.
Yeah.
I have a home group. I have a sponsor. I have sponsees. I have a position in my home group. I'm the secretary.
How many
Oh, wow.
sponsors have you had?
I don't know. I've never actually sat down and thought about it. Not like a shit ton. Maybe 6, 7, something like that. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's normal because you move, you get a new sponsor.
Sure,
you don't
yeah.
necessarily have to. I feel like the more time you get, you don't like I don't call my sponsor every fucking day anymore. I
Right,
call
yeah.
when I'm in crisis.
That's right.
right? Or I call when I'm, trying to run an idea by.
Yeah.
Or like when you're being manipulative. Like I know when I'm trying to force this idea.
Yeah.
And then I'll call my sponsor and he'll have the last word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. And the way I look at it now, and this might be like, I don't know, controversial or whatever to some of the AA folks out there, but I just like to do co-traveling, which I think is an ACA thing. So it's kind of like, okay, you've got 13 years, I've got 10 years. I trust that you're going to tell me the truth. You're not my sponsor, but I call you and ask you about this thing.
We
and it's
do
going
that
to be just
together.
effective as me calling and talking to my sponsor. So I'm co-traveling with 3 or 4 men right now as my. But I have one person I call my sponsor, but I run all of this by don't run it all by all of them, because that would be me picking and choosing, looking for the right answer. But I bounce ideas off all of them.
I do the same exact fucking thing.
Yeah.
Dude. I
Well,
love
that's
that
the beauty.
co-traveling.
That's the beauty of getting into recovery and opening up and being around a bunch of guys or women, if you're in that on that side, is to be able to trust yourself enough to trust another person.
Yeah.
And run stuff by.
Okay, so let's get on this. We're going to get on this concept of co-traveling, because I think this is a fucking awesome concept. So basically what co-traveling is that you get surrounded by a group of people that you really trust, have the best interest of you and your life at stake. So you start calling them, asking them for advice when you have big life decisions around you to make. So you're co-traveling with these people that you trust. Now, the beauty there, I think, is that I know I don't trust myself as much as you. Why? Because I am an expert at ruining my own fucking life. If you ask me what I'm best at, it is making decisions based on self, based on fear, based on what you think of me, in order to fuck my own life up and end up alone and unhappy.
Sure.
But when I ask you to make the decision for me, I usually end up happy.
But you're trusting yourself enough to ask that question, is my point.
It's not. It's that I distrust myself enough. I think, right? I don't trust myself enough,
To
which
make
is
the
healthy.
decision.
Which is healthy,
Yes.
right? But like you brought up this other thing. So let's say your wife tells you to do something one way, and then your sponsor tells you to do something one way. Which way are you fucking going, bro?
Well, first of all,
Just quick,
that's why
shoot from the ship.
you don't ask your wife.
Okay, good. That's a good answer.
Your wife can't be your sponsor. I've tried that. Like, hey, she's like, why don't you call your sponsor, man? Like, I'm not.
She's smart.
I shouldn't be in talking like this. Is none of my business. So
It's fair.
Yeah,
It's fair.
absolutely.
I mean, being like, honestly, I thought something was wrong with me because I was like sitting there 12 years sober and I wasn't married yet. And mostly people get married around like 5 years sober, right? How much sober time did you have when you got married?
I got married like 6 years ago. So
Okay, so yeah, you were about 4 years sober. I was like, I seen all these people getting 4 or 5 years sober that I got sober with getting married and shit. And then I'm like, fuck, dude, fuck those fools. Those
Yeah.
fools are fucked. I'm gonna go travel and keep
Yeah.
doing my thing.
Have you noticed that people that got married at like 1 and 2 years sober are not married anymore?
They're divorced, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
You
and,
know?
and that's interesting because as a process of recovery, people change. My personality can change. Not the core of who I am, but and it's easy to evolve and kind of grow apart from your partner in that way. So that's why marriage is hard, man. Marriage is work. I have to really work at it. Because this is my soulmate. This is the person that I've chosen to go through this incarnation with. So.
Well, look, this is another great topic. Okay, so let's check this out. So, like, a lot of times, I'll get home. Okay, so like when you're in a relationship, right? When you're married, what I've learned is a lot of like she'll get upset about something, and I'll take it like personal. I'll be like, look, this is my fault. Like I didn't listen to you, but like really, I was having a really rough day, and like I wasn't intending not to listen to you. It's not that I don't care what you have to say. It's just like I'm a fucking zombie. You know how you get after working
Oh, yeah.
12 hours some
Oh, yeah.
days. It's fucked. You know.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh God, I let another person down, and then that voice in your head starts fucking talking. You're a fuck up. You're gonna lose it. Everything's gonna go downhill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucked.
Yeah, it's not good, and that voice is something that it's that old story, you got to let that old story go.
I don't think you can ever. I think it's just I choose to live with this homeless negative bum in my head, and he's always gonna live there because I've done a lot of work trying to get the bum evicted.
Yeah.
But the bum stays, and the
Yeah,
bum
man.
talks, and it's like sometimes I gotta say the bum, you're wrong, dude. You're wrong, bum. But then sometimes the voice is pretty loud, and then I'm like, bum. Like, dude, you got a point.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
should do some bum fights with my guy and your guy.
Who would
love
win?
bum fights. It's not about who would win. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
at
it
the end
kinda
of the day,
is.
we're both already losing. If the bums are in control, we're losing.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
But like everyone's got a dirty old bum in their head that's talking shit.
They stink too.
You know, Erica's not sober. Do you have a dirty bum in your head that talks shit to you? Like you're not good enough, you're gonna fail, you're gonna end up homeless, you're gonna live under a bridge, you're gonna end up alone, everyone's gonna leave you, no one's gonna love you.
Not
You
even
don't-
one of those.
Not one. I don't know if I find
Oh,
that to
then
be
maybe
true.
Okay.
addicts have the bum and alcoholics have the bum, but normal people don't have the bum.
No, I think normal people can have the bum.
Oh,
She doesn't have the
100%.
bum.
But not like all of those.
She has a couple of. She has like.
Like a couple things.
But the
Yeah,
bum
not
says
about the-
bad
not about
things.
the-
Does the bum ever tell you you're going to be obese someday? Like maybe like it's going to switch and you're just going to turn obese. I have that. My bum tells me that.
Her
I
bum
just am trying
lives in a car, I think, and you're on the streets.
Oh, my
There's,
bum
like,
tells
limits
me
to this shit,
like, yeah,
you know?
one day my genes are going to switch and I'm going to become massive. Like, you know, when the poles shift,
Ah.
right? And I'm going to be fat bastard, 6'8" fat bastard. Yeah. With like saggy titties and shit and like sweat. And I'm going to have to use one of them like toilet cleaners to fucking clean my belly and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
You're gonna have to
I've
like
already
lift
like
your boob up and wipe the sweat under.
just
from there.
stick it in there like a toothpick, like digging for shit.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, thank God that that's not the case, you know, because I do feel for people that, you know, struggle with obesity. And
It's very kind and politically correct of you to say
I'm
that.
just saying, because there was a time that I was overweight. I wasn't obese, okay, but I was 220.
I was fat too growing up.
And so, no, when I got sober, I was like Homer Simpson, bro, because all I did was sit around, get high, drink beer, you know, and I had this gut because I would eat once and it's at midnight every day.
Right.
So, and it was disgusting what I would eat, right? So I ended up looking in the mirror and saying, this isn't going to work. You know, I'm dating now and I'm looking at myself. I'm like, no, this ain't going to work. Hey, that was nice. And so I just started running, dude, and I lost like, 50 pounds. I did it.
What are you most proud of that you've done or accomplished in sobriety? And I'm not talking about spiritual woo-woo shit. I'm talking about have you ever ran a race, have you ever climbed a mountain, have you ever traveled somewhere, saved something, bought something for yourself or for someone else? Like, what's the thing you're most proud of?
So, okay, my vision quests. All right. I've been on 2 vision quests out in New Mexico. And essentially what that is, it's an 11-day process where you sit with like this shaman. There's no drugs involved. You sit with this shaman and he teaches you all these rituals about sort of these, it was loosely based off like Native American rituals.
Oh, that's
Okay.
cool. Like breathing exercises and stuff.
No. Like exercises that I'm going to do when I'm out on the mountain by myself. Okay. So, for example, the Death Lodge. So, a long time ago, you only knew about 150 people total. Okay. There's 50 people in your village, 50 people here, 50 people here. And when you're about to die, there would be a hut or a shack or something that you would go to, and it would be called the Death Lodge. Okay. And that's like signaling to everyone that you're dying and now it's the time to come and like make things right. Like if you have any things you want to say to this person, now's the time, and vice versa. Right.
And this is when you're dead.
No, this is right before. This is when you're very sick.
Oh, tight. So
Yeah.
they're
This
talking
was
to
a
you
long
before
time
you're
ago.
dying.
This is like when we were tribal.
Oh,
okay.
like it's like 300 years ago.
Okay. And so we're there. And so essentially the Death Lodge is when I go out to the mountain. I can't have a fire. So you do a solo. So after you learn the rituals, you do a 5-day solo with no food. And you only drink water. And during that time, you have a little spot, your place of power that you've chosen. And you're doing these rituals, right? So you're like healing yourself out here doing that. And so the Death Lodge, I sat in my chair and I set up another chair, and actually I found this like old skull. I think it was it was like a deer or something, and I set it in the chair. Okay, and what you do is you sit down, you say a little prayer, say the Death Lodge is now open. Okay,
And you're alone.
you're alone on the side of a mountain in the dark.
And you
Okay?
didn't eat for 5 days.
That's correct.
Did you
yeah,
shit
I've done this
every day?
twice.
Did you take
no,
a dump?
you shit like after the second day. You stop shitting.
You stopped
It's
shitting.
done. Yeah, there's nothing to
Like
shit
no
out.
water or nothing
Yeah.
comes out of your booty.
Yeah. So back to the Death Lodge. So you're sitting there, and whoever comes to your consciousness is who you start talking to out loud. So if my friend Justin, who he OD'd, and he was a good friend of mine, he came to me, and I was able to tell him like all the things that I wanted to tell him, and I spoke it out loud.
Wow.
Right? So it's a powerful experience. It's very. It's very interesting.
How
but-
did you feel afterwards? Was it like a freeing
Oh my
kind
god,
of thing?
dude! Yeah, like after the first vision quest I did, I was like super, yeah, I felt great, man. Because I mean, I've essentially found myself. So you're out there. Once you find your place of power, it's 5 days, no food, no food, no tent. So you have a tarp. So you're out under the stars, sleeping on the ground in your sleeping bag. and you're doing these rituals, and no phone, no nothing, you know. So you're just sitting with yourself. That's it, and it's a very powerful, very very powerful experience.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so the idea behind not eating is the fact that that's what produces the altered state. Because after not eating for a while, you know, you go into ketosis, your mind slows down, things that I've pushed down start bubbling up, and I have no defense against them because I don't have my phone, you know, the TV, all the crap.
Right, right.
There's no one to talk to. It's completely alone. So
What was the time in between those vision quests? Was it years?
it was like 2 years. Yeah. And
Interesting.
then my wife and
I wanna
I,
do one.
my wife is like super interested in it. So I bought her, we both did one together. You're alone, but you go to like the educational part first, you know, and then you all go off by yourselves. So
How much is a Vision Quest
I don't remember what I paid. It was like $2,000 or something, 1,500.
to not eat for 5 days?
Yeah,
and
isn't that
be
funny?
outside?
Yeah. Like
Wow.
essentially, like
Where'd you
what you're
sleep?
paying for is the experience and like the shaman and his wisdom. And
Did you sleep in a bed at night
no, dude, you sleep on the ground in a tent. Yeah.
by yourself?
No, excuse me, no tent. On the ground without a tent. You can't bring a tent.
By yourself?
By myself, yeah. There's
you get
mountain
bit by
lions,
any
bears,
bugs?
fucking all kinds of shit that could have got me.
Any bugs you get bit?
The bugs weren't too bad, and it was in New Mexico. The first one I did was in October, so I'd wake up with ice all over my sleeping bag, and my sleeping bag was not warm enough, so it was pretty miserable during that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. You ever been arrested sober?
No.
Oh, that's
no.
cool.
No.
Same. I've never been arrested sober. Knock
Yeah.
on wood.
I know people who
Yeah.
have, you know, but
Of course, I've
that's
met
just-
people that were like fighting cases.
It's like getting fired on your day off.
But it is yeah, it's like getting fired on your day off. I love that. That's a great one.
Yeah, so
But-
the fishing quest, man, that's the most interesting thing I think that I've done. You know, in this, it's a difficult thing. It's not for everyone, and yeah, so that's into that.
That's good.
Yeah,
Do you ever put your finger in your ear and then smell it?
I don't smell it, but I do enjoy sticking my finger in and around my ears and just like wiping and feeling for bumps and stuff. It's
Yeah.
like a fucking habit. A
What's
lot
the
of people do
grossest
that.
thing you do? Like you bite your own toenails? Like
Oh,
what
fuck
do you
no,
do?
dude.
Okay, then what
Kidding
other
me?
what's your
I don't even know
gross
if I
thing?
can do that. Like,
Everyone's got a gross thing. What's your fucking gross thing?
I don't know, man. I have to think about it. Let me get back to you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
I'm a gross human being.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
People are
you
weird.
are.
People like to pick at things and smell it.
I
That's like a
smell my
normal
belly
thing.
button. I'll scratch my arse.
I've
and
smelled my
then-
belly button before. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
fucking gnarly.
It's gnarly. Let's do it right
I'll
now.
be honest with you. I
Let's do it.
never
Hold
smelled
on.
my belly button
Then put your
until
finger in your
Jeff
belly
started
button.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Then
And
put
then
your
I went
finger-
home and did it. And I
Put
was
your
like,
finger in your
"This
belly button
sucks."
right now. All three of us, put your finger in your belly button, and then on a scale of 1 to 10, how nasty is that shit? Okay,
It's
hold
not
on.
gonna be too bad today.
Mine's not that bad.
Mine's good.
Mine's honestly, it could
Mine doesn't
pass.
smell
Like,
like anything.
it smells like a city bus. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's passing.
I mean, it's not bad. It's just that, like, okay, I'm gonna be on this bus for like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it, I'll deal with it.
Okay, I think probably one of the grosser things. I try to pop zits behind my ear if there's anything there.
Oh, those are fun.
And I'll like go at it, dude. Like I get like
It's a cool
obsessive.
sound.
Yeah. Well, when you do get something
Yeah.
that pops, oh yeah, that is. It's very.
Therapeutic.
It's
Yeah.
fulfilling.
Okay, so you got fucking sober. You're 10 years. What do you think the main differentiator between somebody that's like newly sober? I remember this guy was like, there's 25 of us in a room. He's like, only one of you guys is going to make it long term. And I was like, shit, I'm going to be the one. Like, fuck all I looked around. I was like, fuck all these other fools. Like, you guys are
I
fucked.
have that feeling too.
You guys are fucked. So, like, what do you think the main thing is that, like, is like why you made it to 10 years? Because sometimes I think about that.
Yeah, for me, I believe it's having connection and like good like friends and a fellowship that I stayed in contact with people, so I couldn't isolate because I'll isolate. And then the other one is like honestly meditation, and seeking a higher power. Like for me, it's a very interesting thing. In fact, that's all I really. At the end of the day, once I'm like retired and have millions in the bank, what I'm going to do is just be a spiritual seeker of all kinds. You know, maybe I'll go to India for a couple of years, find a guru. I don't know.
Does your
but-
wife know this already?
Yeah, she knows this. This is my goal in life. This is what I would like to
See,
do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a really cool story, and we're going to keep it under a minute, okay?
Yep.
So check this out. So when I was 2 years sober, this guy that I started working with was like, Jeff, I want you to think of one thing that you need to get done before you die, so that when you die, you are happy. You have no regrets. And it took me like 3 months to come up with what the fuck I was going to do. And then he's like, I want you to price it out. How much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. I want a detailed plan of what thing you're going to get done in your limited time here on life. What I came up with was I want to travel to every country in the world. I want to spend 2 weeks in each country. And I want to help a stranger anonymously start a business. So like I'll go to Peru and find a coffee bean farmer that's worked on someone else's farm and buy him his own plot of land. I'll go and fucking, a sweatshop in Bangladesh and find some lady that's been sewing shit for Nike, buy her own sewing machine and a lease for a year. Boom, priced it out. It was going to cost $1.6 million and take 8 years. And that's what I've been working for my entire life, just towards that fucking goal.
That's rad, man.
You
But
know,
most
yeah.
people can't like figure out what they want in that detailed of a manner. So,
Well, I think everyone can if they apply the thought and the energy to it. So that's the point. If you're out there, come up with one thing you want to do before you die so that you actually die happy with no regrets and you leave a legacy. And so on my first date with my wife, I told her that. I was like, look, this is what I'm in for. This is what I intend to do with my life. Are you in or are you out? Because if you're out, there's no second. You know what I mean? Like that's how important that thing is to me. And it sounds like you found that for yourself.
yeah, I did. I think one of the things that I like about you is not only you have a nice ass, but
Tight.
I do enjoy the
so.
fact that you are like, okay, this is who I am. This is what I represent. These are the things that I do. And you're just like, I feel like you're just a complete open book, you know?
Yeah. Well,
And,
the first time we met, you were kind of like weirded out by it. You were like, wait, are you faking
I
it?
thought it was a little weird because our first meeting was like, we were just all of a sudden it was like, we were just so honest with each other, like positive and negative things. And it was just like all good.
Yeah, it could go one way or the other.
It was just
Yeah.
all good though. It was like, okay, yeah. I think, you respected me, I respected you. And so it was kind of like we just, we're like, okay, I think this thing can be a good relationship in that way.
Sometimes people take it as like, what's your angle? Like everything you've just told me is too much. I'm not used to hearing all the truth.
Yes, right.
And so there must be a hidden angle here because like it's very unusual that someone's so honest about their shit. And like I can understand that, but then I don't really have a patience or a tolerance for it because I'm like, look, I just gave you everything on the table. Like, and then you still, it's like trying to sell somebody that's thirsty water. Like, it feels gross after a while. Like, what do you mean you're thirsty? Like, buy the fucking water, dude.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
while we're at it, dude, Kyle, I'm throwing out some affirmations.
Yeah,
you know.
good.
I think when I met you're just like you have a disarming quality about you where people feel free. At least me, I feel free to like let my guard down and free from judgment and yeah, man, just like good vibes, good energy.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
get that a lot too because people want to tell me every fucking thing, and I'm
Should be
like,
a therapist.
why are you telling me this? I just met you and we're in Walmart. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it is a good thing, And,
Yeah.
And when going back to the part about, when Jeff said somebody told him early on that only one of you are going to make it to 10 years. Like my thoughts when somebody says that is I look around to people that I've had connections with and like why is it only got to be 2 out of 10 or 1 out of 10? Like why aren't we all gonna make it,
Right.
And it doesn't, like, it just like it's unsettling at some points, but it's like at the same time, like I just know that's the way of life. And
Yeah, but that's a gift that you have, so
Thank you.
use it,
yeah.
I was in treatment, and I went to treatment 7 times, by the way, guys. I've been in a head-on collision car wreck. There's a lot of my story that we're missing that's interesting. I don't know how boring this podcast is.
Keep
gonna end up
going.
being.
Fucking tell stories.
But the thing is, I was in treatment, and the CEO, this guy named Darren Davis at Palmetto Recovery Center, came in, and I was a hot mess, and I was like really being disruptive, and just like couldn't get my shit together. I was just so scrambled from all the drugs and stuff I had done. I mean, I hadn't drawn really a sober breath, since like 13. I'm 27, so here I am trying to like be an adult. I don't know what I'm doing. And he goes, "All right, guys, raise your hand if you think Ty's gonna stay sober." And I was the only one with my hand raised in a group of like 20 people. Yeah. But you know what? I did stay sober. I stayed sober for 4 years after that. So, it's really hard to tell like who's going to stay sober and who's not going to. You don't freaking know.
Yeah. What made it sobriety stick this time? Was it kind of the parts like whenever you went back out? Was it like when you got sober for the second time? Was it you remembering what it felt like for those first 4 years, or was there something else that kind of drove you to make it 10 years? And like when you were like, okay, this is it. Like there's no more for me.
I had the 4 years, and then I got on the Adderall, relapsed, and then I went to treatment, and then I got out, and it really was a trap because I was thinking that I was going to be able to do like the minimum I was doing in those first 4 years to stay sober moving forward, and it didn't work.
Right.
I was doing that minimum that I was doing, and I wasn't getting results. I mean, because if I'm going to work like a 12-step program, the energy I put into it is going to be the results that I get out. So if I'm not putting any energy, it's like any program. It's like a workout program. If we all were going in the gym, we're going to do squats, and today was like posterior chains. So we're doing like squats and just legs in general or something, or deadlifts. Which I don't do either of those exercises, and not good for you. But and I decided I don't like the deadlifts, but you guys do them. So at the end of our 3-month program, you're going to have better results because you just did everything it asked you to do, right? And it's simple. It's just like that,
So you finally were willing to do.
Yeah, it's fine. I was
everything.
like, okay, I'm gonna stop picking and choosing. I'm just gonna do the shit and see what happens. And I was, I actually did the program to see if, like, when I say the program, Alcoholics Anonymous, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it actually. Anyway,
You can.
Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck
yeah,
you
you can.
want. That's the
yeah.
truth.
All right, so I did it to prove that it wouldn't work, because it's like super simple, and I have like these
Right.
complex problems. It's never gonna work for me.
I think you're not alone there. I think a lot of people come into those rooms and they're like, I can do it my way,
Yeah.
and that's the alcoholic and addict way of thinking. Like,
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
just do it my way,
Right.
And I'm gonna get the results I want.
Sure.
And then you see people go back out and then they're like, okay, like I was at a meeting last night and the guy had like 18 years and he said he stopped going to meetings, he stopped doing all this stuff, and he has 4 months now. But like the vulnerability that he has to come in and share about it, and tell you straight up, like, I wasn't doing the work after, I thought I had it all under control. And you hear that shit over
Right.
and over and
Oh,
over
absolutely.
again.
Yeah, it's a broken record. It's like it's crazy that people still relapse. Honestly, and I know it could happen to me too again. So, all right. This one time I was I was in high school. I'd like taken some pills and I was drinking and driving. And I just met this girl, and I was like, yeah, like this is good. I'm excited about this. My parents were out of town, and I was having a party at my house. Okay, so here's the setup. We're leaving this place. I'm driving. I have 3 buddies in the back and my new girl here in the front. And this car pulls up, and they're like, I must have swerved over or something, and they're like, yeah, they're like, fuck you, motherfucker, or whatever. And so, I'm young, I'm in high school, I'm like trying to impress this girl. I'm like, okay, I was like, you guys y'all want to fight him? I was like asking my friends, and they were like, yeah, let's go, blah, blah, or whatever. And so I was basically like, yeah, pull over, motherfucker, or whatever. And then, and so I slowed down, and they like went ahead and pulled off on the side of the road, and I was looking over at my like new girlfriend. I was like, hey, we're gonna do this, and I look up, and I just smashed the car in front of me, and which was them. I smashed them. I ran into the back of them right
so
before we
you
were
were
about
ready
to
to
fight.
go.
And guess what they did? They took the fuck off. The fucking bumper was like scraping.
They said,
They're
"This
probably like,
guy's crazy."
this fucking guy has a screw loose, man. He's fucking crazy. Let's get out of here. So totaled my car. I was able to like drive it over to this park. It was like, doop, 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 doop,
You might have saved
parked it-
yourself an ass whooping.
Yeah, no, yeah, man. I was not a big fighter. I had been in my fair share of fights, but I don't necessarily fucking enjoy it. you know?
Right.
So we left the car there the next morning, and I went back to my house and had a party. So that's how life was, Totaled car, left it in the park, had a party at my house, got into a fist fight with a friend of mine there during that house party, and then the cops came to my door at like 8:30 a.m. Like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, somebody fucking ran into my car,
backed up
I
into
left
your
it there.
car.
They couldn't prove it, but I mean, I was like, my hair was everywhere. Like, I was not. They knew I was drunk the night before, so
Dope.
yeah.
No, it's a good story.
Yeah.
That's like the chaos of
Yeah.
fucking being in high school. Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
knew I had a problem young.
Yeah.
Like one of the first memories I ever had where I had a problem was I was taking the SATs, and I wasn't fucking going anywhere smart to college because I was fucking, my grades weren't good. But I remember going out, this SATs were on Saturday. I went out on a Friday night, and I was like, I'm not going to drink, right? I'm not going to drink because I got to be up early for the SATs. Go up to the party. Oh, I'm going to only have 2. And then I go to the fucking party. Then pretty soon I'm up until fucking 5 a.m. and I have SATs at 8:30 in the morning.
that's not good.
And I was like, I have a problem,
Sure.
And then I felt terrible. I felt like I wasted my fucking time, But okay, so here's another thing. Is that like I think about these guys that come into the program now. All right, hold on. I think about these guys and girls that come into the program now, and they essentially like can do this. Like you could do this the first time, but you have to be willing to take direction. So when I think about whether or not somebody's going to go from like a year sober to like fucking 10 years sober, or go from a month to you know what I mean? I just look at how much direction does this person actually take and put into practice. You know, can you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's what I mean. It's like if you're looking for a way to make this work, like I get people that are like, "Oh, help me." I'm like, "Have you ever done the 12 steps and taken someone else through them? Have you ever taken direction from a sponsor?" And they're like, "Oh, no." Then I'm like, "Fucking do that." You know? Stop being a little bitch.
Yeah, that's right. You know, suck it up and, you know, realize that you fucked your life up and maybe right now you don't know the next best thing for you, and maybe you should listen to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you
And-
used to drink Coke? Like 2-liter bottles of cola and shit?
I loved Coke, yeah.
Were
Yeah.
you white trash?
I don't drink. I would say I was white trash, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Were you
yeah,
white
dude.
trash?
No, not really. I'm envious of you for noticing you had a problem like early on, because I didn't notice I had a problem until like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Well, I just knew
And
I
I'm
was
like
different.
about to be 35.
I just knew I was like,
Right.
that isn't normal. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But also, my dad was an alcoholic too. You have any alcoholics in your family, Ty?
Oh, yeah. So both my grandpas, alcoholics.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Did they die sober or die drunk?
Both of them died sober.
No way.
Yeah, but they were actually one of them did not die sober. The other one did, because when he was 40, he had got diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver, and
So he went dry.
he went dry for the rest of his night till 92.
So he was miserable.
He was so mean.
wow.
so mean.
It's funny how if you get sober without a program, you
Yeah.
do it on your own, you end up a mean son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, they're very poor. Their house was on like cinder blocks, and so when I was a kid, like I would be like, "Hey, Grandpa," and he would go boom and like slam his foot down, and there was like this huge echo. He was like, "Get on out of here!" I mean, the super country, brother. I mean, come on, man. That my grandpa wore Dickie jumpsuits 24/7, dude.
Did he,
Oh,
did
yeah.
he have straw in his mouth too?
I
He was
thought
that
it
kinda
the
guy.
same thing. Did he have straw in his mouth? That's how I imagined.
No,
him.
he drank Cokes like beer though.
Oh, okay.
He had cases and cases of Cokes.
Coca-
I think
Cola?
I think that's like a old people thing, anyways. Like everybody had Coke. Like my
think
first
it's
memory
white
of drinking
trash.
a Coke is at my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
I just think it was white trash. Like my mom used to buy 3-liter bottles. Like you remember, like they had 2-liter bottles,
Uh-huh,
and then they
yeah.
had 3-liter bottles.
3
and,
liter
like,
bottles
if you
of
had-
actual Coca Cola.
Yeah.
I was you had an off brand.
or I mean, definitely offering like RC
You had
Cola.
that Sara Lee shit.
Yeah. I was
some,
drinking like
you were definitely
Dr.
white trash.
Pibb,
Yeah.
Dr. Pickle,
like
you know?
Mountain Lightning Mountain,
Yeah.
or whatever that is.
Yeah, 100%.
What is it?
Surge,
Big Red, brother. Big Red.
Big Red.
Surge.
I used to
Holy
drink
shit.
whatever was 3-liter and on sale. My mom would buy that shit.
Did you
And-
guys have like the fake cereals too?
Oh yeah,
Like
we were monsters, bro. Monsters, bad. And so like we would drink the 3-liter Coke out of the bottle.
Yeah.
Like no joke.
it was
we
like
would,
Shameless at your house.
Shameless. Yeah, honestly, my house was like Shameless. Yeah, it really was.
Shout out to Shameless. Good show.
Great show,
Yeah.
dude. Great show. You a big fan of Suits? You watch Suits?
I knew that
I'm
was
not,
coming next.
I'm not actually.
You're not a big fan. You ever watch it?
My wife loves it, and I haven't really.
Great show.
Great show.
Yeah.
I'm hooked on it right now.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in like the last week since I've been doing my class, but it's like it's a good one.
It's a banger.
Once I start watching one episode, I end up watching like 7 in a row.
Yeah, but it's okay because it's educational. I think like
don't know how
Suits is like
educational
educational.
it is, but it is.
Teach you about negotiation, how not to get fucked, like how people don't screw you over. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
I don't have anything I'm watching right now. I honestly, it's been a while since something has like really caught my attention to where I'm going to dedicate the time and energy to actually go through a season of something.
What's your favorite show?
That's a good question.
Breaking Bad.
I mean, what I've ever seen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say Dexter.
Oh, nice, great
good
show.
one.
Yeah,
good one.
like all the way to the end. I actually liked the ending, you know, and then they had the second.
Never
kind of
saw
like-
the second part of it. Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't bad at all.
Are you an X Hamster guy? XNXX, PH? Like what kind of?
I've
genre?
spent some time on all of those.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Just depends. It's like a roulette.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I would say that if Pornhub is probably the go-to.
It's the most basic, but
Yeah.
it's just like it's vanilla. You know, but it's okay.
It's vanilla.
It's vanilla.
So
Yeah.
I am kind of like my porn is vanilla. Like I'm
That's
not
the
into
same.
any of the like
It's the same.
you know like
Weird shit. Japanese game
now, I
shows.
have
watching
been out-
pregnant women or
Yeah,
some shit.
I have
like that.
twisted
Yeah.
off though. I have twisted off like in my addiction. You know, like whenever I would do like speed and things like that, like pornography was.
Did
a
you
part
like
of
that? Did
What's
you
that?
like speed? You took meth?
You know, like coke, crack. I have taken meth. You know, yeah, all of that stuff.
Hell
but
yeah.
a lot of cocaine, dude. I did a shit ton. I did so much coke. It's
Was
fucking
coke
crazy,
cheap
bro.
in Louisiana?
I got it for cheap.
Like
Can you
80
still, when
an
you
eight
still
ball?
breathe now, can you do you still have like one of the nostrils that is like? Because I
Yeah,
definitely
watch this. Watch
I-
this. Watch which one. It's just one just goes in. Watch.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow. So your
that was
shit's
my
fucked
go-to.
up.
Yeah.
that was left side was my go-to too. What's the most fucked up thing you've seen a sober person do while you've been in
I love
sobriety?
this.
Well, okay. Back in Lafayette, I saw this guy at the clubhouse over there. He pulled a knife on his sponsor in the parking lot. He said, "I'm gonna cut you, motherfucker." Pulled a knife out. Cops came. The whole thing, dude. Yeah.
He went to jail sober.
Yeah, this guy was a character. He was like a veterinarian who like lost his license, and
Oh, so
but
he was losing it.
But he did like shade tree practices. Like you could just bring him your animals, and he just fucking did shit like on
In
the
the parking
side.
lot?
Yeah,
In Louisiana, in
yeah, he just like
Louisiana,
kept going. Yeah.
I imagine people were bringing them like possums and shit like that.
Oh,
you know?
Oh God,
like
that's a
save
great
my
story.
raccoon.
I love that story. Honestly, I would love to meet him. I wonder
Yeah.
if he's still sober.
yeah.
You know,
Like, he's like, I'm gonna cut you.
I'm gonna cut you. And he probably knows how to cut you in a way that's like not gonna fuck you up
Yeah.
too bad, but like will really do some work.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah.
Ty, we're gonna have you back because honestly, I feel like we didn't like we just scratched the
I
surface.
don't think we did. Like I felt like this pod might, it was a little dry. You know?
Okay, well let's end it.
Yeah.
We're gonna do another one. This is Ty part 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Ty part 1, the surface. We're gonna do Ty part 2, the fucking the Titan, like underneath
The
the,
meat and
surface.
potatoes.
Okay, that sounds good.
Good. Okay. Cool. Thank you guys for watching, tuning in to Shitface Sober. We're grateful for you. If you're struggling, message us. We're out.